Hello, everybody. Welcome to No Doctor, Just Healthy. I'm in a different study room, and there's somebody next door really talking, and I hope that I don't bleed into their room as much as their voice comes into mine. But anyways, um, it might happen. I don't know. I'll try. I'm not a professional at this stuff. But anyways, No Doctor, Just Healthy. And I just, for some reason, I put down from young to really old today because when we do our sign on to post these videos on YouTube, there's a few questions they ask us. And one is it made for children? And if you say yes, then there's all kinds of rules that have to be covered. And that stuff confuses me. I mean, you can tell I get confused, but I'm thinking, well, when I first started, I was thinking kids aren't interested in this anyways. But the thing is that they might be. There might be somebody out there that's not feeling too good. That's a kid, and their doctor isn't really helping them, and maybe they notice that. So maybe young people would like to do this. I'd like to see grandparents and grandkids sit together and scan a few of these and just consider the idea of what you can do to help your doctor look like he's a genius. Because we can take care of things at home. You know, we can we can do things like eating right. And of course that's hard to do because everybody has an idea about what eating right is. I say, well, if you're not well, look at how you got there. So just consider this types of foods you've been eating to get to the not well part. And then see if you can change anything. And I'll just throw a little clue out there. Sugar wasn't a problem for the human race until about the 50s, right after World War II. It, and then it really took off. I mean, you got a whole aisle at the grocery store that's all breakfast cereal. That's loaded with sugar. Pop that's loaded with sugar. That's the worst, probably. But there's a lot of sugar. But anyways, got to consider that. How much less of it can we eat? I eat a lot less, but the darn thing is I'm addicted to it, which I think a lot of humans are. And when if I have a little bit too much, like somebody says, "Oh, it's your birthday, have a piece of cake." No, I think no sugar is a treat. I think it's my birthday. I should skip the cake because the sugar got me to where I was pre diabetic. I was 270 pounds. I couldn't hardly walk upstairs without having to stop to breathe. I would fall off of a curb if I was walking over to the grocery store and trying to get off a curb to walk across the street. I could actually fall down on the street. I only did it a couple of times, fell long, but I would come close to falling down often. And I'm not like that anymore. Now the doctor said I was getting older. I have to be careful. I don't like that thought. The getting older happens by the minute. And I don't want to be the getting older guy. I want to be the healthy guy. And the funny thing is that when I was 70 was when I kind of hit my bottom of being messed up. I'm going to have a birthday this month, but so far I'm still 77. So in a couple of weeks I'll be older again by chronicle age, But but I'm really well, and I've been cheating every winter I seem to cheat. I seem to think that a couple cinnamon rolls will be okay. Well, it's not okay for me because I can't have a couple because I'll always have a couple more, and it hurts me. It puts weight right on me, and I'm right now I'm 12 pounds more than I want to be, which is not that's not horrible, but I don't want to get skinny because elderly people um, have a problem with muscle loss, and I don't want to lose muscle. And if I don't eat enough protein, the muscle just starts, you just start losing it. And there's a bunch of you people out there are going, you know, I mean, if you're elderly like I am, but if you if I eat enough protein, I mean, I eat a lot of that, but not too much. You can't. I mean, you can't only eat that. You gotta eat everything else too. Fat is like really important. Um, like all these low fat things, they're killing you. They're That's not good for people. There might be a person or two that really do well without fat, but I don't know who they are. Um, it can't be a long distance runner because they don't have any. They might not have any fat. They might not be storing fat, but they've got enough protein to keep their muscles happy. So you got to, it's a balancing job to do all these tricks. But anyways, uh, I would say when we stop moving, we stop moving. What does that mean? Well, if we stay on the couch all the time, uh, it'll be harder and harder to leave the couch. But anyhow, walking is great. I mean, you don't have to jog. You don't have to walk 12 miles. You don't 30 minutes, something like that is something. Maybe if you can do that twice a day, that's something. But I'll tell you what, I didn't drive for a bunch of years because I couldn't hardly think, and I'm recovering from that. I hope. At least I feel like I'm talking to you okay. But um, when I got better, I got to where I was thinking, why aren't I driving? I love to drive. I mean, I used to be a performance driver. I was a test driver. I was a Winston Cup uh, production guy. Well, I'll just say, you guys remember those Superbirds and Daytona Chargers, with the big wing in the back and the nose? That was me. I wasn't. You could see me in those all the time. But so I have background, okay. But I got to a spot where I couldn't drive because it was freaking me out. Just an intersection or something, I just couldn't do it, and I decided to quit so I wouldn't hurt anybody. Well, all of a sudden, I got better after I quit listening to after I fired all my doctors, and I started working on my own self. I got out there and bought me a car. I love my car, and it's a Ford Bronco, the Sport, the little one. It doesn't have to be the big one, but it does have the big engine in it, and that's something that's me. That's all about me. But I love this thing. But it's perfect for me. For me, it's not good for a family or nothing. I don't think. I think it's a subcompact, so it is small, but it's perfect for me, and I love it. But the darn thing is it makes me drive it. I drive it because I really like it, and I don't walk to the store anymore. I used to walk to the store once or twice a day just to get some groceries, just a few, little odds and ends. And I used to think it was really cool because it was my motivation to go to the store, get a little something I don't have to wait for it to rot. I can just get a couple things and take home and put it in the refrigerator and eat it, and eat it in the next day or two. But I might walk over again in the afternoon just to get a couple more things, and or nothing, maybe nothing. maybe I'm home and nothing. But I was walking back and forth to the store. Now I drive, and I don't even drive daily. Now I can go. I'll drive up to a store and buy a bunch of stuff and carry it home in my SUV or my they call it a station wagon, but I'll carry it home in that. But anyways, I got to keep moving, and I became very aware of it lately when I said to my doctor, I said, you know, I can see that my legs are smaller this year than they were last year. And he says, well, sarcopenia. I think that's the word he used. It's it's a muscle loss that's automatic, or it's really easy for it to happen in older people. And I was thinking, I noticed it in my legs, and I am really active. I mean, even though I do drive the car too much, um, I do a lot of other things. I ride my electric unicycle sometimes, but I can't ride it in the snow too well, so I don't. But now that the some winter is over, I should have rode that here today instead of driving my car, because that thing works on my balance and really works on my leg health. So I got to remember that. It's so important for us to keep our legs in order because they're the big blood pump. They get the sugar out of our blood. They help all that stuff, and it's got to be, you know, matter of fact, I can do squats, and a lot of people can't do that, and I don't mind doing it, and it doesn't worry me out, but I can tell that it makes my heart beat, and that I really like that. But at home, I have a step machine right beside my couch, so I can get off the couch and walk on the step machine, and I'll just take just a few steps, like during a commercial on TV or something. Just a few steps. And if I take the full size step, that really gets the blood moving. So I do that, and it's good for me. And I don't know, you know, I'm pretty flexible, but there's a few things here that I was writing down about walking and moving, and good, we covered that. Um, but I um, gee whiz, I covered a lot of stuff that I scribbled down here. But you can tell your doctor someday, always makes me sad. Sometimes I'll talk to somebody and they'll say, well, they'll talk to their doctor about it. I says, I just, well, that's okay. I mean, you got to find out, make sure that whatever you're doing doesn't conflict with what the doctor's doing. Um, like especially if you're taking medicines and stuff. Well, I mentioned to my doctor that I was taking this one supplement, and I don't mention names so very often of any medicines, but you can always go to the computer and say what supplements can help. What supplements can help with blood pressure, and or what supplements can also help with blood clots, or what supplements can help thin blood, and you look up yourself, and you might find a couple things. I found a whole batch of things. Well, anyways, I was telling my doctor, yeah, I take this one uh, not because I have blood clots. It's because I don't want to find out I have a blood clot on the way to the hospital. I mean, I'm old enough to have them, and I've had enough trouble eating through the years. Oh gosh, I got to talk about that again. The blood sugar thing is, we call it, when we remove it from our blood, we go into a state called ketosis. And ketosis is great. Ketosis makes ketones for our brain and our energy. And most people that I know, when they get close to that spot, they really accelerate. Their energy really picks up. And and it's not just the energy of walking around the block. It's the energy of all the cells in your body are getting healthier. It's a big deal, and it's something really to look into. And there's a diet program called keto, and it's fine. I started doing this stuff in about 1990 when it was Dr. Atkins was talking about uh, no sugar diet, and the target of that diet was to get into ketosis. so, and that diet goes back to, I don't know, 1918 or something, when they were using it to help people get away from seizures. I think it was started out with kids getting away with seizures. And it was funny. Kids often eat, of course, back then they weren't eating sugar so much, but um, maybe it was easier to get into ketosis because you actually had meat on the table, and you could have pork chops, and eggs, and that was, it was normal. But oh, now I got to say something else. You know, like like if you tell, like I told my doctor, I live on mostly meat. And he says, "Oh, really? How's that? That's working out really good for you because your blood uh, readings are perfect." I would never consider this blood test belonging to a 77-year-old. This looks like it belongs to a healthy 22-year-old athlete. I said, "Thank you. I work at it. And it's real. I'm sure it's real." And that was even after I had been cheating over the winter. And I only cheat some. I don't cheat like full speed ahead. I'm not eating a dozen donuts before breakfast and stuff like I used to. And I did. I used to be sick. I was just consuming that awful stuff all the time. I used to think a good life for me was frosted something, some kind of flakes, covered with a banana, which one banana has all the sugar in it that I can have in one day. One banana, maybe even almost too much, but right, one banana is just about the limit. So it would be these sugary flakes covered with a banana with one or two, just 1 or 2 teaspoons of sugar sprinkled over it with cow milk on it. Now, cow milk sugar too. That's sugar too. So I would eat that bowl of sugar. The flakes are made out of pulverized food. Um, the cow is super pasteurized, which keeps it fresh and everything, but it's not really adult food anymore. That stuff is good for kids, little kids. But anyways, this stuff to think about, when you're looking stuff up. But anyhow, um, I hope I didn't leave something out. But I was telling the doctor that I have this supplement that I really like to take. That is really one of the side effects is that it stops clots from forming, or it makes it hard for a clot to form. Maybe it's more that way. And he said, "Oh, I don't think you should take that because you're on blood pressure medicine or blood pressure medicine." And I says, "Well, this stuff lowers blood pressure." "Oh yeah, but you're already on it. It'll be too much." I says, "Well then, how about if we stop taking the prescription and see what happens?" "Oh well, we know the history of the prescription." "Yeah, I know the history of this prescription too. The prescription seems to be okay to take year after year after year." And I can't even say, I shouldn't have said okay to take, but it seems that that's the way it works. How about if I take something that doesn't have any side effects and just makes me healthy? And so there, there's always that conversation. How do you know? Well, I feel pretty good when I use it. So, anyways, um, it's got history. You read, you got. I do when I do research. I mean, I go through the company and all that stuff, and I go back to see where they found everything and how it's put together, and um, I get the idea that this is very good stuff, and it's not affecting any of my natural rhythm. I mean, it keeps us healthy, but that's not pharmaceutical stuff. That's health food stuff. So, anyways, but that's it for that. Uh, but when I tell the doctor that, well, maybe I should just stop taking the blood pressure pharmaceutical then. And then if they say no, well, you're in charge. I mean, they might pick on you a little bit for insurance or something, but you can say it's my life. Or I actually found out that I could take the bottle from their pharmacy because I'm covered under lifetime uh, medical stuff through the service. So I could just take the bottle, but not take the pill. If I take the bottle, they seem to be happy with it. And if my medicine that I use, the stuff that I have to pay for, see, because I think I'm worth it. I would rather pay for something that helps me than take something for free that's killing me. And statins is one of them. And statins make me shake like I'm a can't think what that is. You get Parkinson's it, right away. I mean, I start dropping stuff, and oh, it's awful. But anyways, well, good. I've had fun today. I wonder if I should just stop right here. Um, what and I can do this on my own. I do this at home, and the doctor that I have right now is really good. I really like him. He's kind of a new guy, kind of new. I mean, I mean, he's not been in the business 30 years. He still likes being a doctor, and he really likes seeing how healthy I am. And when I decide to sit down and talk with him, he turns his chair around and talks to me. He talks to me, and we talk about this stuff. And it was pretty fun because he was so shocked at how good I was just before I went on my vacation 2 months ago. I guess it was about 2 months ago, that he said that he was going to have me come back in the office and he was going to double check my blood test and see how I go. And I said, "Good, that's great." I mean, he wants to make sure that it wasn't some kind of a fluke because I was perfect. But but this is all good stuff. So, anyways, take care of yourself. And what do they say? It's easier to take care of yourself than to repair yourself. And so far, I haven't had any doctors working on me, and I'm pretty grateful for that. Actually, I'm pretty grateful for that. But I'm really having trouble knocking off these last few pounds. I'm not 100% sticking to my diet, so that just ruins everything. But anyhow, I'm going to keep trying. So thanks for being there, and I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I'm sorry. I just missed it.